All right. So only drunks and children tell the truth. So we're Act One, Scene One. So remember, this is a play. It's not a novel, so it gives us some background information. So this is our set. So it's lights up on an upscale condo. Movie and theatrical posters adorn the walls with an odd sprinkling of native art. The place is empty. The quiet is broken by four loud and sharp knocks on the door. There is silence, and then more knocks are heard. Again, there's no response. A doorbell rings repeatedly, and there's silence. An agitated whispering is heard on the other side of the door, a low decibel argument. Then the clicking of metal on metal and the jiggling of a doorknob. The door opens to reveal Tonto on his knees in front of the lock. He has picked it. So it opens up with them basically breaking and entering. So Tonto, what in Toronto? Do as the Torontonians do. I told you it wouldn't be that hard. He enters, followed by Barb and Rodney. So we have three characters here. So Barb, this is a bad idea, Tonto. This is breaking and entering. Tonto, she's your sister, right? Would you guys prefer me read the names before for each? Would you rather me just read the lines? Read the lines. Yeah, okay. She's your sister, right? Barb nods. It's not technically a B&E, a break-in and enter, and if it's your sister's place, it's a law, I think. So so we already have a little bit of information. We know that Barb is the sister of whoever owns this place. Cool, look at the city. I told you it was a killer view. You can almost see the reserve from here. That's Lake, Ontario. We're that direction. I didn't say our reserve, I meant any reserve. Six Nations must be that direction. Syracuse over there. You can almost see where Tyndanaga would be. Wow, the Mohawks as far as the eye can see. And where do you think she is? Not at the Goodwill, that's for sure. Look at this apartment. Barb, when I grow up, can I be an entertainment lawyer too? So whoever's apartment it is a lawyer. No wonder she didn't want to stay at our place. After seeing this apartment, I don't want to stay at our place. Some of these movie posters are signed. Look, an autographed picture of Al Waxman. Is he still alive? Barb, don't touch anything. And without thinking, she picks up a piece of an abstract sculpture. What's this? I think they call it art. How can you tell? It's in the middle of a table and it's not a bull. Okay, yeah, fair enough. The woman's not as white as you thought. There's some damn good art up here. A Maxine Knoll, an Ojig, a Roy Thomas. Damn it, Jim, I'm an Indian, not an art critic. And then Rodney disappears into the washroom. So we just have Barb and Tonto on stage now. I think they're originals. Well, they're definitely not prints. So either they're originals or great forgeries. And as much as I like Maxine's work, I don't think there's that great a market for fake Noels. Someday, maybe. So Rodney comes out of the bathroom. Barb, go look at her bathroom. I don't want to look at her bathroom. Trust me, go look at her bathroom. So Barb peeks into the bathroom. Wow. Didn't I tell you? I've never seen a bathroom like this, Tonto. Tonto investigates. What the hell is that? I don't want to know. It's like an amusement park in there. Hey, Barb, take a look at this. What now? Rodney is standing in front of a photograph on a desk. See, she didn't forget. She still has it. Still has what? The picture Mom gave her last Christmas of Dad holding her. I've forgotten how big your father was. How old was Grace there? And thus we meet our fourth character, Grace, whose apartment they're in. About 3 months. The CAS took her a couple months ago. See, Barb, it may not be a wasted trip. I missed that picture. Why didn't she return our calls? Couldn't she tell it was important? I don't think she's been here for a while. The plant soil is very dirty. You know, sometimes you're just too Indian. Am I saying this right? Chimegwech? And check her answering machine. 11 calls. How many times did we call? Including the 2 this morning, 10 altogether. So she's not here. A 3-hour drive for nothing. So what do you want to do? Hang out here and wait for her to get back, or do you want to head home? I'm tired, Rodney. I want to go home. You got it. Let's go. And thus they start moving towards the door. Provided this godforsaken city hasn't towed my truck. Suddenly, the rattle and click of keys in a lock is heard. The 2 freeze, panic-stricken, like deer in headlights. Shit. Everybody hide. They all scramble to find places to hide in the apartment. The door opens, and Janice/Grace enters with her luggage. She looks tired and worn. Barely glancing in her apartment, she drops her bags and takes her coat off. She opens the closet to find Tonto. First off, like, can you imagine just how like freaked out you'd be opening your closet and just boom, there's a guy. Tonto, hi. And thus Janice screams, it's okay, it's okay. She goes into a martial arts position and punches him solidly. Tonto goes down in the closet, a flood of coats covering him in an avalanche. And so Janice is also Grace. 911, 911. Tonto calls out of the closet in pain and half conscious, only to have Janice start kicking him. Barb and Rodney emerge from their hiding positions. Grace, take it easy, it's us. So she's going to stop kicking him and says, Barb, Rodney. Hi, Grace, what are you doing here in my apartment? We had to see you. How'd you get in? We snuck past the security guard, and well, Tonto picked your lock. Who picked my lock? My brother, Tonto. Rodney gestures to Tonto, who is only now getting up off the ground. So Rodney and Tonto are siblings. And Barb and Janice are also siblings. Hi, I spent a year working for a locksmith in Petersburg. It's quite easy once you know how they work, which is true. What are you all doing here in my apartment? Well, when you didn't return our messages. What messages? Will someone tell me what's going on here? Grace, Mom passed away 4 days ago. Anne, oh, Barb, I'm sorry. What happened? She went in her sleep. So Anne is their mother. That's the name of their mother. 4 days ago? The funeral was yesterday. I wanted you to be there. Oh, Barb, I'm sorry. I've been away, and I think you should come back and say goodbye, to her. Go back. Realize and go back. Barb, I can't. What do you mean you can't? You owe it to her. I'm sorry about Anne. I really am. And I'll do what I can if you need any help. But going back, I can't. You have to go back. She's your mother, our mother. I don't care if you just drive up, put some flowers down, say goodbye, hop back in, and drive away afterwards. You really should, Grace. It's the proper thing to do. Sorry, but I'll determine what's proper for me to do. Anne was a lovely lady, your biological mother. I knew her for 1 hour. That was all. Beat. I don't believe you. Remember the context here when they looked at that photo that was sitting on there? That was a couple months before she got taken away as a kid. So she only really met her mother the year before. I don't believe you. What have you got against Otter Lake? That's where you come from. That's your people. My people live in London. No, your caretakers live in London. They're not talking about London, England. There is London, Ontario. Your family lives in Otter Lake. I love my parents. I'm sure you do. Look, I worked for a year as a counselor at the youth center. I met kids all the time, and adults too, who are trapped between one culture and another. It can do weird things to people, but I found it can help if you have a sound understanding of where you come from, then you'll have a better understanding of where you're going. Got me? That's really wonderful. To Barb, I realize you're going through a rough time right now, Barb, but I really don't think it would be in anyone's best interest for me to go back to Otter Lake. The last time I left there, I was a mess. I'm still trying to get a hold of myself. I don't want to go through that again. Okay, you don't want to come home and say goodbye to the woman who gave birth to you. I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed. I hoped you'd been born with some of Mom's compassion. Don't take this personally. It's me, not you. Now, if there's anything else I can do to help. Yes, as a matter of fact, there is, Grace. Please, my name is Janice. Okay, Janice, we need a place to crash. Got any room? What? I don't want to stay here. Sweetheart, essence of my existence, we need some place to stay for the night. It'll be dark in an hour and Tonto can't drive because of his night blindness. Barb, you have night blindness? It's a personal thing. So even Barb doesn't know that this person she's traveling with seems to have night blindness. Perhaps it's a lie. I don't have my license since that little altercation with the OPP, Ontario Police, for which I still think that breathalyzer was rigged. You don't like to drive on the highways, kind of our limits with alternatives. I don't want to stay here. All of you here were housebroken. Listen to me, I don't want to stay here. But Barb doesn't want to stay here. Listen, honey, do you want to walk home, sleep in the truck, or better yet, sleep in the streets? It's early spring, so the chance of us getting frostbite is practically non-existent. How bad is your night blindness? Trust me, it's very bad. We don't have a choice. Well, it's decided. Can we? Well, I guess you're all welcome to stay if you want. It's the least I can do. Can't get much more lease than that. I think that's a yes. Shall we go get our stuff? I'm supposed to be on vacation. Why bother? You got a natural tan. Rodney and Tonto walk to the door. So Tonto says to Rodney, "How long have I had bright night blindness? Is it fatal?" And he gets shushed, and they exit as the lights go down. So they're clearly lying about that. So that's just Act One here. Now, I just really quickly want to go through this character sheet here. Here we go. So I just kind of want to go through this character sheet here. So this is just some of those like characteristics and stuff. So we know that right off the get-go. So we have Janice and Grace. So how come she has two names? Well, she was taken as a kid. Sounds like she got adopted and they changed her name. So her birth name was Grace, but the name she goes by now is Janice. Here we go. So I'm going to go to Barb and Janice, and I'm just going to mention that they are sisters to each other. And that their mother is Anne. And this is in the interactions with others. Like I said, this is a really like short one. There's lots of white space in it as well. Like it's meant to be done over like a 2 or 3 hour play. Yes. Is zooming out enough, or should I zoom? Okay. At the same time, we know now that Rodney and Tonto are brothers. Oops. Now, as for like the physical, I'm just going to go through these one by one. As for the physical characteristics, we were not really told um basically any of them. Like we don't actually know what any of these characters look like at this point in time. The only thing we kind of know of at this moment is that they all come from like a reserve that was 3 hours away. So, but the one thing we do know is that Janice or Grace seems to like she lives in an apartment that's really nice. She has art. So um she probably dresses wealthier. It's the only real physical characteristics we kind of have now about like clothing and stuff. Now, are we confident enough to like start to label these guys, these people's psychology? We don't really have enough to call them like controlling or defensive or anything like that. But we can look at their morals, perhaps. Is there anything that we could look at there? Well, do anyone remember who had broken into the apartment? Tonto. So with Tonto's morals, or rather all three of them, they're willing to be in here, right? We also know that Rodney he's very quick-witted. He was the guy. Ooh, let me get rid of that thing here. He's very quick-witted. He was the one who had said, "Oh no, we can't go. My brother has night blindness." Total lie. Just came up with it on the spot. I don't know if that's necessarily a moral, but for emotions, we don't have enough just yet. But we do have some stuff for motivation, specifically for Janice. So we know that Janice, I'm not even going to write her name. Janice isn't interested in returning to her birthplace. Oh, and I guess it's also probably fair to mention where Janice that she is indeed adopted. And we can't really add much more at this point in time about these. We will learn more about these characters and what makes them tick and like what motivates them and all this stuff that will come to play. But right now, that's about as deep as we can go. Sorry, holding back a sneeze. Let me save this as well. So I'm not going to read through the next little bit here. We will actually finish up Act 1 tomorrow, but for the rest of the morning, what you guys can actually do is there is this little guide here as well. So what you can do is you are going to be able to answer these 8 questions and then a summary at the end. You're probably not going to be able to do it on the sheet. You're almost definitely not going to be able to do it on the sheet. So I recommend maybe just pair it with some loose leaf instead. But so I'll give you some time to do that, and any excess time you have will be something that you're able to do. If you have any excess time, you can work on any missing assignments or your essay. Tomorrow we will finish up Act 1, so we will be reading a little bit more of it. Like I said, we're not going to do too much because we could power through it in the class if we really wanted to.